book is Charlie and Lola. My wobbly tooth must not ever, never fall out. I have this little sister Lola. She is small and very funny. This week she got her first ever wobbly tooth. Lola says, I do not ever, never want my wobbly tooth to fall out. I need it. Marv says, when I had my first wobbly tooth, I nearly swallowed it. Luckily, I was eating toffee, and my tooth got stuck in it. I say, once I headed a football, and my wobbly tooth just flew out of my mouth. But I do not ever, never want my wobbly tooth to fall out, said Lola. Marv says, why not? I just need to keep completely all my teeth, says Lola. And I say, those are just your baby teeth, and they're meant to get wobbly and fall out. Then you'll get new teeth, and they are your grown-up ones. It's like mooses, said Marv. Moose's antlers fall off and they get new ones that are better and stronger. But I am not a moose, and I like my teeth completely the way they are. Wobbly, says Lola. Later, Lola comes over to play with Lola. Hello, everybody. Hello, Lola. Look. Lola says, what is it, Lola? What is it? And Lola says, my wobbly tooth fell out. What did you get? Says Marv. What do you mean, what did you get? Says Lola. And Lola says, well, the tooth fairy came and... Who is the tooth fairy? Says Lola. Well, the tooth fairy is the tooth fairy. I put my wobbly tooth under my pillow. And then in the middle of the night, the tooth fairy came and she swapped it for a coin, says Lola. And in the morning, I bought this for the farm. It's a chicken! Lola says, I didn't know there was a special fairy who gives you things when your teeth fall out. Why didn't someone tell me this before? Nobody told me about the tooth fairy. My wobbly tooth must absolutely, completely come out. Now! Lola says, what will you get with your tooth money? We need a horse and a sheep and a cow. And Lola says, I'm going to get a giraffe. Do you get giraffes on a farm? Says Lola. And Lola says, yes, you absolutely do, Lola. But how do I get my wobbly tooth to fall out? And Lola says, you have to keep wobbling it. Lola says, I think it's almost nearly about to come out. And Lola says, just keep wobbling it. Marv says, do you want me to twist it? No, Marv, says Lola. Mom said absolutely no twisting. Not never. And I say, keep wobbling, Lola. I am wobbling it, she says, but it's still not coming out. I don't think it's ever going to come out. Then she squeals, ah, Charlie, it's out. My wobbly tooth is completely out. Now I can get my giraffe. Lola says, remember to put it under your pillow. You must go to bed early, and you must fall asleep quickly, or the tooth fairy will not come. Lola says, yes, I'll look after my tooth extra carefully till bedtime, because I really want my giraffe. When you come over tomorrow, says Lola, I'll have my giraffe and you can bring your chicken. Then they can be friends, says Lola. Don't forget your tooth has to be in the very, very middle of under the pillow. At bedtime, Lola says, Charlie, I'm just going to go and wash my tooth and make it shiny and clean. And then oh no, my tooth! My tooth is completely not there. I say, check again, it must be there. But Lola says, it's completely gone, Charlie. My tooth is completely not there. I say, it must be somewhere. So we start searching everywhere. We look in the sink and under the beds, on the floor, and around the sofa, everywhere. Lola says, it's gone. It's just completely gone. Now the tooth fairy won't come in. I won't get a corn and I won't get my giraffe. Then I have a really good idea. If you go to sleep and dream really happy dreams tonight, you will smile. And then the tooth fairy will see the gap in your teeth. And she'll know that you really did honestly lose your tooth. So Lola goes to bed. Dream really happy dreams. Really happy dreams. Really happy. In the morning, Lola looks under the very middle of her pillow. She says, Charlie, the tooth fairy did come. Look, hurry up, Charlie. I need to get a giraffe. When Lola comes to play with Lola, she says, what is your giraffe called? Lola says, he is called Giraffe. Lola says, what is your chicken called? Lola says, she is called Chicken. Hello, Giraffe. Hello, Chicken. Oh, look, I think they're friends, says Lola. Lola says, maybe Giraffe and Chicken would like to meet Mr. Goat. But we don't have a goat, says Lola. Oh, no, says Lola. We don't have a goat. We need more wobbly teeth. Have you got any more wobbly teeth? Lola says, no. Have you? I don't know, says Lola. Is this one wobbly? No, says Lola. Lola says, what about this one? Or this one? Or this one? Or this one? The end. What is your favorite part of the story? My favorite part of the story is when Lola was dreaming happy dreams. Peppa Pig, the Tooth Fairy. Once upon a time, there was a clever little pig named Peppa. She was very proud of her teeth. Grunt, grunt, brush, brush. Peppa and her brother George knew how to take care of their teeth. They brushed them every morning and every evening. Peppa and George loved playing dentist. Peppa would pretend to be the dentist, and George would be her assistant. George's toy dinosaur was the patient. What lovely clean teeth you have, Mr. Dinosaur, Peppa smiled. Grrr, said George. One day after playing their dentist game, Peppa and George were eating their dinner. Suddenly, something fell onto Peppa's plate. Clatter, clatter. It made Peppa jump. What's that? She asked. Ho, ho. It's a tooth, Daddy Pig laughed. But where is it from? Asked Peppa. Why don't you look in the mirror? Said Mummy Pig. Peppa looked. She had a big gap in her teeth. Oh no! Peppa cried. Do we need to go see Dr. Elephant? Ho, ho, ho. No, said Mummy Pig. It's just a baby tooth. It's meant to fall out. A baby tooth? What's that? Asked Peppa. A baby tooth is a tooth that falls out when you're young, explains Mummy Pig. A new one will grow in its place. What should I do with my baby tooth? Asked Peppa. If you place it under your pillow, the tooth fairy will come. She'll take your tooth and leave a shiny new coin, said Mummy Pig. That evening, while Peppa watched the television with her family, she kept thinking about the tooth fairy. When I grow up, I want to be a tooth fairy, said Peppa. Daddy Pig chuckled. What about you, George? Asked Daddy Pig. George pointed at his dinosaur. Dinosaur, he growled. Hee hee hee. Come on, George, shouted Peppa. We don't want to miss the tooth fairy. They both ran upstairs to get ready for bed. What are you doing, Peppa? Asked Daddy Pig. Peppa was carefully brushing her baby tooth. I want it to be nice and clean for the tooth fairy, said Peppa. Snort, snort. Peppa tucked the tooth under her pillow. Are you sure the tooth fairy will be able to find it? She asked. I promise, said Mummy Pig. Just you wait and see. Good night, Peppa and George. Good night, Mummy. Good night, Daddy. Hee hee hee. I'm going to wait up all night for the tooth fairy, Peppa said. George, let's not sleep. George smiled and nodded. Peppa waited and waited. Snore, snore, snore. She could hear something. Is that the tooth fairy? Peppa wondered. George, she whispered, did you hear that? Can you see the tooth fairy? He climbed down to look at George. He was fast asleep. It was him making the noise. I'm much better at staying awake than George, Peppa sighed. She settled back in her bed. After a while, her eyes started to close. She quickly opened them again. I'm going to stay awake and see the tooth fairy, Peppa said to herself firmly. Snore, snore, but you're soon asleep. Tinkle, tinkle, what was that? It was a tooth fairy. Hello, Peppa, she whispered. Would you like a coin in exchange for your tooth? The tooth fairy gently took Peppa's tooth from under the pillow and put a shiny coin in its place. What a lovely clean tooth, the fairy said. Thank you very much. Flutter, flutter, flutter. The next morning, Peppa found the shiny coin under her pillow. Mummy, the tooth fairy did come after all, she shouted, jumping up and down. Oh, I wish I had seen the tooth fairy, Peppa sighed. Next time, I'm definitely going to stay awake all night. Snort, hee hee. The end. What is your favorite part of the story? My favorite part of the story is the tooth fairy finally came, and Peppa was so happy that she got her tooth. This book is Arthur Tricks the Tooth Fairy. Arthur ran to the breakfast table. Look, DW, he said. Arthur waved $1. The tooth fairy left it under my pillow. Why? asked DW. She takes baby teeth and leaves money, Arthur said. That's goofy, said DW. What does she do with all those old teeth? Arthur thought. Maybe her castle's made of teeth, he said. Where does she get the money? asked DW. You ask too many questions, said Arthur. The next morning, DW ran to the breakfast table. My tooth is loose, she shouted. It's not, Arthur said. Is too, said DW. Nope, you're too young to lose teeth, said Arthur. Not fair, said DW. When Arthur got home from school, the house was very noisy. Slam, 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 went DW's door. What are you doing? Shouted Arthur. Pulling out my loose tooth, said DW. Oh no, stop it, said Arthur. Your tooth is not loose. That night, DW said, I have a toothache. My tooth needs to be pulled out. Mom, she's making it up, said Arthur. I am not, said DW. It really hurts. If it still hurts tomorrow, we'll visit the dentist on our way to the museum, said their mother. The next day they went to the dentist. DW jumped into his chair. Your teeth are perfect, said the dentist. I don't think the tooth fairy will visit you for a year or two. See, I told you, said Arthur. No one believes me, cried DW. DW dragged her feet all the way to the museum. Everywhere she looked, she saw teeth. Dinosaur teeth, shark teeth, tiger teeth. DW couldn't stop thinking about teeth. At the museum shop, their mother said, You can each buy one little thing. Arthur looked at everything, but DW knew just what she wanted. I'm going to buy a shark's tooth, she said. I have a great idea. That night, DW couldn't wait to go to bed. I'll tell you a secret, Arthur, if you promise not to tell Mom and Dad, said DW. Promise, said Arthur. The tooth fairy's coming tonight. I'm going to trick her with my shark's tooth, said DW. It's really going to work. I sure hope so, said Arthur, because I'm tired of hearing about teeth. That night, DW dreamed about the tooth fairy. And that night, Arthur decided that the tooth fairy needed a little help. Before the sun was up, DW ran into Arthur's room. Look what the tooth fairy left me, she shouted. Arthur opened his eyes. I tricked the tooth fairy, I tricked the tooth fairy, sang DW. I did it, I really did. And tonight, I'm going to do it again, shouted DW. The end. What is your favorite part of the story? My favorite part of the story is, in the museum, DW bought a shark tooth. Thank you for reading with me.